Hello, everybody. This is the IOTA Shimmer community Discord. We are here on Thursday, the 6th April, and this is the community governance meeting. Exactly 1 week after our biggest success so far, I would say. Again, thanks everybody that has participated in the voting, that has given their votes to the right options. And again, a big thank to all the contributors of this group that have worked tirelessly over the last 2 years to make this possible. So we have a lot of cool new stuff in our ecosystem now that we can do. We have a lot of more support and all this stuff. Sure, we will give some updates today on all the progress that has been made in the last week. That's the thing. So maybe I will just start with a couple of topics that I had in mind. So I would like to show you guys what I have done with a snapshot. That's something that we can talk about over the next couple of days, weeks, and think about how we will potentially implement something like this when the EVM goes live. And show you a couple of stuff that is related to the latest governance votes still, and then maybe JD can give an update on what has happened on the treasury side so far over the last days. A lot of stuff has actually happened, and I think until then we will have a nice meeting covered with everything important. So maybe JD, I go first, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then you can bring the treasury stuff forward and also talk about what you said already in the intro, the potential different prices for crypto, non-crypto stuff. Okay, let me share my screen actually. Where is it? Diddle deedle daddle deedle die. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if most of you are aware of Snapshot. Maybe if you have followed our DAO Pioneer sessions 1 or nearly 2 years ago, you may have seen that we have talked about this a lot. And basically, one really important thing or one really good thing is that Snapshot is a tool that is used by basically all DeFi projects out there, Web3 projects out there, to facilitate their, let's say, their temperature check phase or their soft consensus phase in governance before, or sometimes they use it also for the full governance, but a lot use it as a sentiment check in the community before a final vote on chain, because especially projects that run on Ethereum have a big problem with the transaction fees for governance. Yeah, so fees are pretty high in Ethereum, and governance participation suffers a lot from high gas fees because I mean, why should you pay for for something that doesn't bring you anything besides making a good choice or a vote? And so Snapshot has developed itself as basically the go-to standard tool for all EVM-based projects out there when it comes in, especially in making decisions without paying gas fees for that. The downside from this is that Snapshot is not 100% decentralized and not 100% on chain, because what they do is basically they sign stuff, but they are not doing transactions on chain. They store data on IPFS. And that's a bit of downside of Snapshot, that you can't 100% verify and trust that everything there is as secure and as trustless as it would be on the direct blockchain. But you still see basically all big projects out there in the world: Optimism, Uniswap, Aave, Arbitrum, Pancake. Everyone basically uses Snapshot for their governance and for their DAO needs. And the cool thing is that because we have now the Shimmer EVM testnet, it was super easy to implement our EVM testnet into Snapshot. Thanks to Alvaro from ApeDAO, who has done that. I had also prepared it, but he was basically faster to implement our EVM. Basically, if you go here and you search for networks now, you will find the Shimmer EVM testnet. Shimmer EVM testnet with our chain ID 1071. And this means that we can now try out if we would like Snapshot to become part of our governance processes for the time when our EVM goes live, and play around. And what I've did basically, I have created a space for us. So Snapshot, you have basically the project, and every project has a space. And in this space, you can do several things. Mainly, you can create proposals and you can vote on proposals. And the interesting part of this thing is that you are voting with your tokens. If you are remembering our, let's say, temperature fast happens in the governance forum, where basically governance forum members are allowed to vote on proposals, but there is no token backing in this. Means that whoever registers an account in our forum can participate in the governance, even if he or she doesn't possess any IOTA or Shimmer tokens at all. And so this gives a little bit more validity to commitment to the project by taking token balances into account. I've done a couple of test stuff here. It's really a nice tool, in my opinion. You have a lot of good tools and strategies there. And so you can basically set up all kind of first of all, you have voting strategies. So one thing is you can use any ERC20 token. So every token that we would create on the Shimmer EVM could be used for voting here. I have done this with I have implemented our original native Shimmer token that is running on the EVM testnet now. But you could also, if you mint any kind of shitcoin or whatever, you can use Shimmer C's token, deeper, so whatever you like. You can basically add a new strategy here and basically put in a symbol, put in the contract address in the Shimmer EVM, the correct decimals, and you can add this as a strategy, and then you could ask token holders of this asset to cast votes on proposals. You can also add ERC 721, means you can vote with NFTs. This is what the guys in ApeDAO have done, basically, because it's an NFT project. And so ApeDAO will facilitate governance through the holders of the Ape NFTs. And so there are a lot of predefined strategies that you can use that basically gives voting rights on proposals. What else? Proposals, you can, you have some templates and stuff. You have voting stuff. You can put in a voting delay. You can define voting period. You can define the quorum. So means that only people that have a certain amount of tokens on their address are allowed to vote. You have different types of voting. So you have single choice, You have approval, quadratic voting, ranked choice voting, weighted voting, and all kind of stuff. And you could even put in a privacy function, and you can also implement validation strategies, basically define anyone that holds the token can vote, or you can define your custom strategies that says, okay, certain conditions need to be in place before somebody can vote, even if he's a token holder, maybe whatever. You can customize this very much. And there's some more stuff that is advanced. So basically, this is the basic thing. And it's quite easy. If I want to create a new proposal, I create that, and I can put in a description. And if I continue, I can choose the type of voting. Yeah. So let's say I'll choose. Oh, please mute yourself. Okay.
I muted him.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. So let's say I use. Any questions so far? Yeah.
Let me just say, Loco, if you need to unmute, just DM me. We just muted you because there was some sound coming through. Okay.
So basic weighted voting stuff. I can, whatever arbitrary numbers I can put in. I can define a voting period and publish this whole thing. And here the stuff happens on chain. So you sign it with your wallet signature, with your private key, but the stuff is not finally as issued as a transaction. It's just a signature happening on chain, and data is stored on IPFS. And now basically I can cast my vote. I can say, okay, this, and so I can rank stuff here, potentially even move it. Yeah. And so I have an easy ranked choice voting. This is my voting power is coming from my testnet Shimmer balance that I have in this wallet, and it's based on the snapshot. This is the current milestone of the Shimmer EVM. So we are in milestone 83, blah 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 blah, and it's based on the snapshot at the time when the proposal was created. So whoever had some tokens at the snapshot in his MetaMask account can participate in this proposal vote, and I sign it, bang, and then basically my vote is casted. And all this basically happens in the Shimmer EVM now. Yeah, so it's connected to Shimmer EVM. It signs with my address on the Shimmer EVM, just stores the data, and doesn't issue a real transaction with token movement that would cost gas, but the signature happens on chain. That's it. You have directly the IPFS link where this is stored, and all the information. So this is basically what Snapshot can do. There's a lot of potential modifications and things like this. I just wanted to show you that it's out there. That is, maybe I'll just share the. If you want to join the space, it's super simple. You can basically just join this link. I'm sharing it here in the chat, and yeah, the session is recorded, baby boy Ken. Yeah, and so basically you just sign with your MetaMask address if you are connected to the Shimmer EVM. That's important, and then you can join the space. So that's something that we can think about. They have some pretty good docs. So if anybody is interested in checking out Snapshot, and also if you are interested in playing around in the space, creating proposals or anything, just let me know. Tell me your MetaMask address after you have joined the space, and I will give you some admin rights in the space, so you can so that you can create not admin rights, but I'll make you a member of the space, and then you can create proposals and play around with stuff. Yeah, and this is also one thing, is that Snapshot has, of course, some centralized parts. You have an admin or you have a space owner, which is basically me with my ENS address. So that's the other part. You need to create a space and to control a space. You need an ENS, that's the Ethereum name service address, and you have to pay for that, of course. And basically, I, as the space owner, have full control over anything what happens. So I could stop. I think I could even delete proposals, and I'm not sure if I can do it during. Potentially, I can also stop an ongoing proposal. So there is a centralized part involved in the thing, which makes it not really feasible for, let's say, the final decision for important things happening in the DLT. Yeah. But as a tool to figure out what the community thinks before we would put it into Firefly for the end road, that's something we can think about and potentially test and play around and potentially implement if we like it.
So the idea would be that basically the phase 1 and phase 2, excuse me, votes would be done on this kind of platform. Then it could be recorded on chain versus discourse.
I would rather say only phase 2. I would I mean,
Okay,
in
yeah,
my thought, that would be have phase 1, let people discuss and propose and change. But once you arrive on a proposal that you are happy with and that you actually want to have really implemented as a vote in Firefly,
hmm
instead of using the forum, where we always have a little bit risk of all kind of Sybil stuff,
hmm
multi-account attempts and things like this. So this thing gives more weight and is much closer to the voting that will happen in phase 3 anyway, because it's token based. Yeah, but we could also implement other stuff. We could drop an NFT to everybody that has reached a certain reputation in the governance forum or stuff like this, and enable voting with the
hmm
NFT. But that wouldn't make much sense. So usually people use it as a pre-stage to the later happening phase 3 vote on chain. So to also, I mean, usually projects do this to save the gas for a vote that would very likely anyway fail, because if it fails in Snapshot,
Right.
then they don't put it on chain and spend another gas fees for just for voting no there. Yeah.
hmm hmm
No.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
Again, the good thing is we are getting closer to things that are used by the majority of in the space out there. Yeah. So usually people and projects, if they come from outside our ecosystem, somewhere in Web3, they all know, if they're interested in DAOs and governance, they all know Snapshot anyway. And yeah, like I said, it's not something that I would recommend to use for a final decision, because you can never 100%, 1000% guarantee and trust IPFS, even if it's very decentralized and distributed anyway, but it's not fully on chain. So a Firefly vote is much more secure and trustable than this one. Still, all projects in the space basically use it. Yeah, you have Uniswap and the thing, so they have a lot of stuff happening there. So they really do their governance through Snapshot. All proposals, all changes in Uniswap go through Snapshot, and only if they come out here positive, they will put on chain for the final vote in Uniswap and all the other projects. Okay, this was just for a little bit an introduction to give you an idea what could be possible in the future with EVM and governance on layer 2. Yeah, there's a universe of tooling out there that will now become available for us because we have the EVM and we can connect and implement us into the standard crypto space and the Web3 and DAO universe out there. So we can think about if that makes sense for us. If we, I would say, let's test it out a bit and then think about and potential also just ask the community if they would be interested in adding this into our governance framework in the future. And yeah, that's the first thing. What else do I have? I think I only have one short thing. I'm not sure if you have all read the blog post that was just released an hour ago, the Q1 summary of the progress. One little thing that we haven't even not really published before was that our Shimmer Explorer now supports voting. So basically, you can. Do you see it in my screen share? Yeah. So basically, you can check in the Shimmer Explorer now every address if it has participated in the vote, in the governance vote. And I really
Oh, wow.
like the implementation. So you have the address, you have the basic transaction data there, you have the native tokens, and you have the NFTs if there are NFTs in there. And here you have a tab for voting. And you basically see the Explorer is parsing the full information from the participation event. And you can see basically this address has voted in SGP01 for JD, and it has voted for Linus and for Garrett and for Ben, and bam, 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 bam. And it also has voted for setting up the growth committee and setting up the community treasury. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. I really like it. You have all the questions, all the text, everything there. So that's really a nice little extra feature that we have now implemented from the Explorer team for our governance needs. Let's say it like this. Yeah,
Nice.
that's
That's really cool, actually,
yeah.
and I think that
It's
man,
pretty
we're really moving along.
yeah, it's pretty important. I mean, they made it really quick when basically when the voting was starting. Um, of course, I'm very actively keeping track of everything that happens on the Tangle during those governance votes. I have my Excel sheets and my yeah, so I have my little statistics and stuff. And I always hated that you couldn't really figure out. I mean, you could figure out because it was kind of hex encoded what an address was doing, for what it was voting, and I hit up the Explorer team, and within a couple of days they have spun this up, basically translating the hex encoded data from the transactions, taking the API call from the participation event, and putting this all together in this really nice overview here. So this is really, I'm really happy with how easy and nice this has become here. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, that's really cool. Okay, actually, I think, what else? What can I say? I mean, we said it already in the beginning. The Shimmer Community Treasury Grant Committee has now officially funds available. Yeah, so today they have received their first 100K USDT in their Gnosis multisig.
Gnosis.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there have also been some token movements around. So basically, all the decisions from the governance votes have been executed today on chain, meaning that the budget for the treasury for the treasury grant committee has been sent to a new and separate wallet. The budget for the growth committee has been sent to a new separate wallet. And yeah, like I said, the treasury was supplied with their first tranche of 100K USDT. There has been an OTC sale happening to get this 100K in USDT. What else did we have? We had Monday a kickoff meeting with TEA, with the grant committee candidates. They should also have already signed the contracts. And on Tuesday, we had a kickoff meeting with the growth committee. Also, this is progressing. KIC has been done by, as far as I know, most or even all grant reviewers already. And so there's a lot of stuff happening, but maybe JD can give a closer update about all the recent events.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Yes, indeed, we got our ecosystem deposit for the first 100,000 USDT, which is awesome. And I'm going to try to get my DAO payment out today. That's basically the longest lead time, and in fairness, I don't think they'll get going until they have payment sent. Yeah, we've done our first kickoff meeting, which we only had an hour, got through most of it. We're going to have another meeting tomorrow to finish that out and kind of that's just going over really the basis of everything, make sure everyone's on the same page, that ultimately we are always representing the community and we must follow that framework. The meetings after that, I think, are going to be more discussionary, more focused. I can say I just looked this morning. We have 2 proposals in that I'm looking at right now. Very well done at first glance. The first proposal submitter didn't necessarily do the 2 milestones. It's a tier 2. Excuse me. So I messaged that individual, and it looks pretty good, and we'll just try to get that so that it meets the community's criteria, and then I'll pass that on to the review team. The website is going really good. I just started, so don't don't go through it with a magnifying glass, but I just started putting some of the transactions in. So to the Treasury expense webpage, I'm going to put that in the chat. So if you go there, you should be able to scroll down and you'll see the descriptions of each transaction and then the transaction ID URLs. So that's going to show basically how we started out with the community 181,000, or sorry, what was it? 1 billion, whatever SMR. Yeah, if we scroll down a bit. Yeah. And then if you scroll to the right, if you kind of go in there, there should be a scroll button on the bottom.
Yeah.
So we'll see every transaction going, which is basically the 181 million separates 50% out for the growth committee. Excuse me. And then it gets split out to where it would be 70% is the community treasury, and the 30% of the 90, which is 15% of the 181 million. So that 30% of the 90 million is essentially our first year operating expenses. And then actually they shouldn't be shown because we haven't sent them out yet. But then I have the 9,500. So I'm just kind of working up to the so far, but I'm going to work on that today. So what the idea is that basically every single thing is tracked, both USDT and SMR, and always going to have transaction IDs so that we can do, well, anyone can publicly audit the treasury balance at any time. So that's looking good. I'll be working on that today to make sure everything's working properly. And we did, so I believe everyone did KYC. I believe everyone signed their contracts. So schedule-wise, we're looking probably 4 to 8 weeks if Adam's process is flowing good. We know from Digital Soul, potentially it could take longer. So we'll see this time how they do. But that will be good. And then once we do get the Marshall Island LLC set up, the committee will sign new contracts with them. And then we will dissolve our contracts with the TA as we are just Oh, and Cowie said that they just sent out the 9,500 to the MyDAO. So thank you, Cowie, for that. My MetaMask wasn't working today, but again, the good thing, we have a 3 out of 5 multi-sig. So I let them know, hey, my MetaMask not working. If anyone could just set this up and send this out. We have our own Discord server, and in that I created a channel, and I'll kind of outline this process a little better. Basically, if any transaction needs to be sent, I told them, hey, I may initiate it, but don't approve it until you see the invoice from me, who's it going to, and then I put sort of the email from that individual showing their address. So everything's kind of confirmed. They'll have all the information. And then in that expense line, I'm not putting attachments now. I know it was who was it? One of the community members talked about safety and attachments, and offered some suggestions, which I implemented. They offered that I move my personal computer security system to Bitdefender, which I did. I also upgraded our website security to scan for attachment malware. And the last thing that they suggested that I need to implement is some system where I download the attachments, scan them on my own computer, and then upload them. So that's the last process that I need to put in place. But I do plan on showing public invoices as well as the proposal attachments. So we're just, what's working really well is the idea was, hey, let's get going. Let's get a process of foundation set up that we can get going that's safe, but the little twerks here and there can be worked out. The kinks can be worked out. So that's what I'm going to be working on the next couple of weeks. All the time is working out the kinks. So process-wise, we're running smooth. Everything's great. We got 2 proposals. They came in, and I'll be looking at those today. Second, something that came up, which I thought was very interesting. So I try to practice always getting 3 quotes, no matter what. Even if I know this person's the best, I think this is always a good thing that any organization should do when you're dealing with sort of logistics, supplies, and especially vendors. Where can we see the proposals? Nickel and Dime's asking. So currently, I will show you. Philo, if you can go up to the top header, and then hit Tangle Treasury, drop down, and go to Treasury Proposals. Now, we're not going to see anything right now because the team hasn't accepted any. Once the team approves a proposal, it will show there. Now, the proposals that are under review or rejected, the community had discussed and said, we don't want to show those. We wouldn't want to show the proposals under review or that aren't vetted because they could have malicious, they can have, let's say, racist or something like that, so we need to vet these before they're publicly available to the public, so they
could also be just spam. So
exactly.
Somebody submits 700 proposals and spams the page, you will have to show 700 spam proposals there. So
so I think it's best that once a proposal reviewed, and also if something's rejected, excuse me, I'd rather that proposal submitter to discuss that with the committee as to why it's rejected. And if it's something that they really want to discuss publicly, my next step would be, hey, let's bring that to the governance group on Thursday. As always, if someone submits a proposal and they are not satisfied with the committee, they can absolutely always come to this group here and talk about it. They can always come straight to Philo or Antonio, who's the community representatives. So when it does go live, I'll definitely post it here and give an update or in the Treasury channel. And if you have any other question on that nickel and dime, just throw it in the chat. So yes. So looking at service providers, vendors. So one will be a KYC. I'm gonna it's interesting because I'm in this position of being very transparent, but also have to respect companies and stuff like that. I talked to 3 different service providers. 2 were Web 3 and 1 was Web 2. And one was very high, Web 3. There's another Web 3 in the middle, and then the Web 2 provider was pretty low in cost wise. The difference between the cost of the Web 2 and the Web 3, just a rough estimate. I haven't talked to all of them yet. Specifically, I got another call with another one today, but I would say like if we were doing 60 to 80 KYCs a year, let's see, let me just grab my calculator real quick. So maybe the Web 3, the Web 3 ones, those groups were kind of in the 4 to 8,000 range, while the Web 2 was like at a 1,800 base for the year. It's like 100 something a month, and then every KYC after that is like $1.75. There might be some hidden charges in there. I haven't fully dived into it, but so it's a 30 to 50% lower cost. So then it kind of brings up that thought of, we're talking something about under 10,000. We're not talking about 300,000. So would we want to really support Web 3 at a somewhat higher cost, but it might only be $2,000-$3,000, or do we want to really be stringent on maintaining costs and keeping those low and stick with a Web 2?
JD, my question would be, what is specifically Web 3 on this? So they're not doing KIC using a DLT, or?
Well, so the Web 3 ones, I haven't talked to all of them, but they were basically saying they have 2 options. The one option is they do DLT. So it's sort of like a hybrid. They KYC, and when they go through approval of the KYC, it shows on chain that, hey, yes, this person KYC'd and they are who they say they are per the documents
So
that they provide.
They put a hash, or they put a data hash on chain.
Yep.
But which Ethereum likely, or what?
I don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. But then I said, and they said, we can also do it sort of the centralized way, where they actually keep, so in that sense, they're actually not even recording personal information in their centralized database. So if you did need to sort of get that information, you would not have that ability. Then I said, well, is it possible that, let's say you hold that information, but there's a very strict access policy, like maybe 3 of the committee members, the program lead, the co-lead, and someone else would need to sign a document to get that information. Because in reality, the only reason we would ever need to get that information is if there was some legal instance, either someone scammed the treasury, but more so I think it would be someone that we gave money to used that money to do something illegally, and potentially someone from that country of a police or something said, hey, we'd like to know who got this information, who got this grant money. So then we would get that person, but there wouldn't be like carte blanche access to all this. So that was just one thought.
Are they running away with a grant or something? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and they said they could do that. They could do that. That would be something. That was just one person I talked to. So that, and then the payment, the other thing is that they accept crypto as payment. So the Web 2 one is nothing's on chain. There's no verification on chain. It's, all centralized database, and then they don't accept crypto as payment. So Yeah, so that's just the it was just interesting to think
Mm.
about, and doing the Twitter. I wonder what it is today. I put up a little Twitter poll um, to see kind of what community members think of that, and I think we'll run in this more. So 59% for support Web3 at a little higher cost, but it did seem through people's comments like, again, if it's $200,000 and 30%, that's a different story. Um, and then 40% are about, stick to the lower cost. So I'm curious, does anyone have any thoughts in the group on that?
This is pretty much my point also. We really have to look how much is it and is it really worth it to go on Web3. Also, I was like, aren't we like paying out most stuff in stablecoin anyway?
And we are, and I think like if we look at Airtables, right? We're using Airtable backend database, and we are using Softer. Those have to be paid because they don't accept crypto unless we use. I guess we can use. I haven't personally used them, but if someone out there let me know, I think there are like systems where you
Yes.
pay in crypto, it
You
transfers it to
you could
fiat, but then they take a charge.
theoretically use PayPal, I think, or there are some others like Coinbase payment and stuff like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, we would probably have to create a corporate account
Yeah.
on some credit card provider because these things do exist indeed.
Mm-hmm. So
So like something you deposit your crypto and then you can have like fiat on
Yeah.
your can
right.
spend this
Yeah,
with your
and
credit card.
basically, let's say latest when the treasury, if you would get a corporate account on Binance, you can get a Binance card, basically, where you
Mm,
can make
okay.
credit card payments with all crypto that you hold on your Binance account. Um,
Mm.
I think
And
I'm
then
not sure, but those exchanges that offer a credit card, like the big ones, I think Coinbase, of course, Binance, some others. So this would be an option.
yeah, we will have to set up an account for the Marshall LLC on some exchanges
Yeah.
because when we exchange SMR or whatever.
Yes.
So will definitely be something once the Marshall Islands set up, and then we'll probably have to look at, the minimal
Yeah,
um,
you
spending.
need a corporate account on an exchange. So I've talked
Yeah.
already with Dom. He could. We will definitely help the treasury
Okay. Cool.
to get the right connections there. So that
Yeah.
shouldn't be a
I'm trying to do
big
one
issue.
for a my own retirement account, and it's a fucking pain in the ass with
because
Binance.
you're in the US.
Yeah, I know. And
But
that's what I was thinking was gonna that's I'm glad you guys said that because I was like, we're Marshall Islands, but if I talk to them and they go, well, where are you from? I'll say, oh,
yeah.
I'm American. They're gonna
Yeah.
go, oh, we don't want to
No.
deal with you.
Yeah, but Marshall Islands, because then you are approaching them as a corporate, as an LLC,
Sure, sure, sure,
not as a US entity. That's
sure,
usually completely easier
sure.
to handle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I mean, my opinion goes a little bit with Werner. I would, like I said, it's not a high cost thing. So if it's like 2K or
Right,
4K a year, I mean, it's still double. Um, I personally would say, okay, this 4K is if it's really, first of all, you can pay with crypto, with stablecoins, which is really, really good,
right.
which saves a lot of hustle and issue, and especially also costs in the end, because all this um, credit card bank stuff that would also, I mean, it costs time to do that, and doing a multi-sig send out is usually likely easier and faster to do than go through all the hurdles with bank transfers and credit card and whatever stuff there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and this is one it's it's a couple grand more, but I also, my always my initial reaction is if it meets the quality, go for the cheapest. However, um it's really interesting. I mean, haven't really worked in Web3 before, and to be running an organization and making multi-sig payments and not have to deal with the bank is really freaking nice. And we'll never get adoption if we don't actually use something. So I kind of agree there that it's not just good for marketing, it's not just good for supporting Web3 grow, but also just shows that, hey, we can run an organization in Web3 as much as we can, and hopefully see that grows over time. And and then someone said, well, why Web3 should make service providers work more efficiently and then actually be cheaper. And I said, well,
yeah,
true to an extent, but there's always economies of scale.
yes.
If Web3 just does not have the market demand that Web2 has yet. And so they have the ability to put a lower profit margin.
If those others doing 7 million KICs a year and the Web3 does 5K, that's, yeah. I mean, I would also always give a big extra bonus if a project is somehow connected or coming from our own ecosystem. I mean, this is clear. Once you find somebody that is part of IOTA Shimmer, then of course, I mean, still you shouldn't accept overcharged stuff. But if it's in the range of the others, then of course, kind of if possible, prefer those that are in our ecosystem, because the money will flow back into our ecosystem instead of going to some random chain XY somewhere.
Right.
But yeah, that's of course always depends on this conditions.
Which brings up another point. Talking to a few different service providers and some other things, I think there are people that would accept SMR. And I know we did say we want to only use USDT, and that would make accounting easier. Though I think, if you look at the treasury expenses I built in the website, it's actually not difficult to where I'm logging USDT and SMR at the same time. So it would be easy to do that. But I don't know. The framework is USDT, and then that kind of gives the treasury more control to make sure it doesn't affect market price. So there's pros and cons.
For grants, because then G-Man was very about this. If it is paying for a service, I wouldn't say that's an issue, because once the service was delivered and you are paying after delivery of the service, you shouldn't care if this person then, if the price of Shimmer was okay and you have to accept the price of the invoice, even if a day later Shimmer tanks 20% or whatever, then it's not a problem of the treasury that they will, because the service is delivered. Yeah. So the problem with grants is if you give out grants in Shimmer tokens and the project is using or plans to use this grant for paying their stuff and over a certain amount of time, and then the price tanks and they can't pay and they can't deliver what was promised because the price goes low, that's the big issue. But for something that is a payment for a service, the service is provided and then you pay out, it doesn't matter if it's Shimmer or USDT or whatever. I think this can be, and it's also, I think it also wouldn't violate the framework because it's not a grant. It's not a grant. It's a service. Cool. It's a service payment, and if they accept Shimmer tokens, why not? But anyway, this only can happen once Gnosis will support Shimmer. So there's still a little bit time. So with EVM and hopefully Servrock's team getting ready with the Gnosis implementation, then that could be a nice little extra option.
Yeah, it sounded like they're getting closer.
Yeah, they're getting good. It's not much. I think let them announce stuff.
Yeah. So and then Razor, Finn's Goblin, Finance Goblin, showed me a interesting Web3 invoice portal. So check that out, and I want to test that. And I think potentially even the whole committee, if they wanted to, could essentially submit a Web3 invoice and then get paid by Web3. And
Which one is it? I know 2 or 3, but which one did he recommend?
Cowie, do you remember? I'd have to look. Let me look at the group real quick. Let's see. Yeah, and I just did it real quick, and it didn't actually go to my email, and then
you have
the team reached out to me.
likely request finance, or you have
Yep, that's it.
request finance. Yeah, that's no. I know it from Bankless uses it, and it works. It's yeah. There's also D-Work, which is a little bit more than invoicing, but I think Request Finance is doing good stuff, crypto related for you. And it's pretty easy. Yeah, you have this templates stuff there. You set it up once, and then usually it's quite easy to use. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna start getting with Linus every week, just once a week, just to kind of teach him and show him kind of all the program lead processes. So he's up to date. I'm also CCing him on basically all communications, and then so he's in the loop on everything. So essentially, if God forbid I got hit by a car, he can step into the seat and keep things going, or at least if I want to take a vacation once a year or something, he can just keep things running, and there's no stopping the flow for someone to kind of catch up on things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're moving along. I'm excited to review these 2 proposals that came in, and we'll be sending those out. And I'm excited with the EVM. It's just amazing how quickly things are going now. It's really great.
Yeah, we had a little a dark winter to surpass with not much news and not much excitement and bear market and everything. But now we're going to spring. We have a lot of cool stuff coming. We have a lot of good tech happening. A lot of nice announcements in the pipeline. So yeah, I think we're looking into more sunnier times for the whole ecosystem and the whole project, and that's pretty good. Yeah.
And then we talked about a little bit at some point of kind of creating a bounty of like, if I wanted to, or maybe a committee member says, hey, this is something that would really help us. It would cost a little bit of money, but the committee shouldn't necessarily have that free power to just throw out bounties. I mean, that could lead to some sort of collusion in a way. But we discussed how maybe this governance group can discuss and find a way to where, hey, the committee wants to propose something to this group, and then maybe it gets voted on through Snapshot or something, and then if it sounds like a good thing, when we propose it, we propose all the data, like all the what the bounty is, very clear. We could put it up on the website, and anyone can apply, and even maybe we can potentially bring, if multiple people apply, can put that up in the we could take the best ones or whatever we think are suitable, and then bring that to the treasury group, and then maybe potentially do a vote in Snapshot. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, but
I thought what I would think is would be really good. We have a lot of active members here, so like I said, letting the governance group here handle that, basically it would be kind of okay. There's you guys have an idea that could be something useful, and then we all together here make an announcement up, or basically define some deliverables or things, and then we go out and start scouting for people or teams or devs or whatever is needed that could deliver on this bounty, and then do some kind of pre-selection process. We could potentially post it in the governance forum, get people applying there or stuff like this, and then
And I'll give an example. So we made the Discord server, and we have this Gnosis safe wallet. Well, I don't want to have to look at the Gnosis safe wallet every day to see if it's, any money's going out, basically. So I thought there must be a way to do a bot where anytime anything changes in that safe wallet, it will send an alert to our Treasury Committee Discord server and then would alert everyone. I don't know how to do that. I reached out to Antonio. He recommended Pathin. I reached out to him and he said, sure, no problem. So he's probably going to do it for free. But I think that is something that, someone should get compensated for that. Like we can't always depend on everyone to do stuff for free, especially when we have the Treasury. But so for that situation, I could come to the group and say, hey, this would really help us out. I think it would better protect our wallet. And help us manage. Could the group find someone to create this? So yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, and I think that's easy. Like this and Discord bots and stuff. I mean, you could also look into. You probably will find it. There are some specific sites for all kind of bots, and I know Bankless has one of these bots in their Discord, and I think they even provide that somewhere. But stuff like this is important, and improvements like that. It just needs to be somehow managed that it's kind of doesn't have a bad look on it for the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, like what we could do would be that essentially, unlike a proposal where you have like, hey, I want $2,000 for building this and that, you could like turn it around and say, build that, and afterwards we are going to compensate you for that.
Right.
So there's no proposal needed, and just an internal vote of the committee. Essentially, does this help us? And then essentially for everything that would be within tier 1 funding, this would work for me.
Or what even would be possible? I mean, if we could even follow the process. Let's say we do it like, let's assume that the Grand Committee has an idea. They bring it up here in the Treasury group. And then basically we as the Treasury group write a proposal that says, okay, we need $500 budget and we will find you somebody that builds this Discord bot for you. And then basically we take care of delivering. And I mean, we can just then really do some Twitter tweets and stuff, and people can send here some ideas and something like this, and we would manage, which then would mean, okay, it's managed externally, and then once we find something, and then basically the payment doesn't go here to the governance group, but the payment then will just go out to the person that was, or the team or whatever that was selected here in the group.
Yep.
Or something like
essentially this. That's like just the bounty that we spoke of.
Yeah.
So I think there are some ways to do it, like, you really go out and say, hey, we need this and that, or you like say, hey, or somebody approaches us and says, hey, you talked about this and that, I could make a solution for that, and then you build it and then you get paid afterwards. This would be the reverse way, essentially.
Yeah.
We both are valid. The retroactive way, of course, it's the safe variant for the Treasury, because you only pay after you get delivered, and I think most people have enough trust that the Treasury is going to compensate them.
Right.
This would also essentially allow us to skip KYC and all that, because we don't have any risk involved.
Yeah, technically tier 1 is KYC, but
essentially if you would like turn it around with bounties and ensure that the guy can't scam because you pay him later, then we could essentially, then we don't need KYC.
But looking what the EU is coming up with regulations, you will anyway need KYC for everyone. It's like,
Yeah,
if it,
I mean that's the
yeah,
problem.
if it's the $1,000 rule coming, then we are all messed up. So there's going to be a lot of KRC.
We set up
Yeah,
a
then
smart
we only
contract,
do this.
dollar payments every 1 hour.
Actually,
Then
that
we only
exists.
do it.
You have this
Then
in
we
Ethereum.
do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Speak.
then we only do it until $999.99.
Right.
Actually, like I said, there's this stuff in Ethereum. In Ethereum, you can stream transactions. So basically,
Well,
they send out gas, or they send us Gwei instead of Ethereum, and you basically stream a transaction over 7 days, which kind of technically could be seen as always microtransactions of 0.00001 ETH. Yeah, so then you would potentially be able to surpass such regulations, but I'm not sure on that. It's not no financial
Yeah.
advice.
I have another question, and something that just popped into my head when we were talking values. Curious if anyone knows of a really good website where you can sort of punch in, let's just say C++ web developer average hourly rate, to maybe help the committee when we vet
Yes.
grants, or let's say marketing, I don't know, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever is in the budget summary of the grant that we can just quickly.
Wait. I will bring that up. There is something like this for salaries. So basically, you can look up every job description worldwide. What is kind of the local salary that people will get there, and I think
Nice.
this may also include freelance work, especially online stuff like this. I think Antonio told me something about somewhere in my message history with Antonio. I will have it. I look through.
Cool.
Yeah, I look
That'll
through.
be very helpful.
Yeah.
Thank
And the other thing, like what I really would recommend, also all of you grant reviewers, is looking through the grant history of other projects. Polkadot has a very, very good database. They have I think they have like now 1,000 proposals or 1,000 grant requests online, which with the full proposal document, with the full budget breakdown, with everything, where you have quite very well database of what is requested and what is paid out in Web3. So Polkadot has it. Where did I see a couple of more? I have it somewhere in my link description, and this is really something. If you look, this is basically also where I got the proposals for the reviewer test that we did there. Yeah,
Cool.
and you see you
Yes,
have
send me that link, please.
yeah, this was from Polkadot, and sometimes you have the full budget breakdown, you have the full project plan with all deliverables, hourly rates of all kind of developers and people involved. This is really, really helpful, I think, for the committee.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I saw that. That was a good tweet about. I don't know what treasury it was, but they did.
Yeah, this was
Polkadot
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not every treasury. Not every grant was like that. I'm sure Polkadot has funded so many, and it looks like they pulled out some outliers, but still, I don't know marketing. I mean, my cousin's a vice president. I could message him, but it'd be good, someone comes in and says, "Hey, we want to spend $1.5 million to go to the, do something." It's like, well, that doesn't really match up with industry standard.
I just shared the link here in the chat also for somebody that want to look it up. So Subscan, that's one of the Polkadot explorers. They have all treasury spendings and proposals there. And if you look into the details, you will find the original proposals. You will find the reasoning and everything, and you will find all the budget breakdowns and deliverables and payments and costs and stuff like this. It's really good resource. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome.
Cool. What else? I think from my side, like I said, snapshot. That's something. If you wanna join the space, hit me up. If you wanna get rights to create proposal and stuff like this. Otherwise, read through the docs and things. And then what else? I'm like I said, moving forward, also in my head and my mind, with all the features of EVM, there's a lot of new governance shit that we can do and that we potentially should do. Not just Polkadot. We have to look into the IOTA treasury. So I mean, we have now secured Shimmer. This was milestone 1, but we have a much bigger pot of funds sitting around with the 50 TI that are owned by the community. We have to prepare ourselves and we have to create the technical deliverables for stewarding this treasury with smart contracts. I'm already kicked off some internal processes in the IOTA Foundation to have that in mind. I'm putting together kind of a project to make sure that we have the technical stuff in place that we need. And so that's basically one of my main fields of work over the next weeks and months to ensure that once IOTA smart contracts get ported into the IOTA mainnet, the community will have access to their funds. That's a technical thing. Then there is a organizational and governmental thing that all of you can start to think about. Basically, who should be governing and stewarding these 50 Ti? What should we do with it? Should it potentially be another committee there? Should potentially the existing committee get a budget from this 50 Ti? So there's a lot of questions lining up with these tokens on the horizon. So this will be some of the topics that we will have to talk and think through over the next weeks here in this group, because we are basically the ones that do all the shit all day. Yeah, so it's really, like I said, we're not stopping here. We are actually just getting started with really cool shit. That is a lot of more things to come. And so just for all of you, think about some of those things. If you want to get more involved, always happy if you bring more people in. Like I said, the grant committee people, JD, will be pretty busy with all kind of stuff. So there's always need for more participation and for more clever and level-headed people to participate in governance. I mean, anyway, we'll see more because we had now quite nice success. And if the Treasury, the committee does a good work, we'll see some cool projects get funded. This will automatically drive interest in the community for governance. And so I'm pretty sure our group will grow a little bit bigger. And that's good because there's a lot of things to do and we can distribute it over a couple of shoulders and work on the next level governance shit here involving smart contracts, involving EVM, involving new voting features and all kind of stuff. So my head is already going wild in this direction. And I'll invite you to join. I'll keep you up to date. Potentially, maybe next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll put up.
Real quick.
Yeah.
So if we looked at this, like, I'm trying to get in my head, like, okay, smart contracts are live. I'm trying to take when do we need all this done by, and then work backwards, if that makes sense. So like, are we talking about when smart contracts are live on the mainnet, and then we can essentially move the 50 Ti into a wallet, and then however that's managed, it's managed? I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Management, you want to try to schedule, but it's not like you could sit there and say, we have an idea by the end of the year that smart contracts will be live.
No. This
Yeah,
needs to
yeah.
be ready, and in my opinion, it needs already to be ready, or it needs to be implemented in the Shimmer EVM first, because we also have a quite huge amount of Shimmer tokens, 67 million, that are owned by the community. They also need to be secured. One, they could stay in the TIA wallet, but that's not the optimal solution. Those are community tokens. They should be owned and governed by the community, and by the community can only mean by the whole network, secured through a system that only allows access to those funds through a governance vote, which
So
brings us.
you're kind of saying like a smart contract
Yep.
that takes a phase 3 vote, and if that vote passes, let's just say the vote was,
Yep.
hey, should we extend the Treasury Committee for another year and give them 10% of
Yes.
the remaining? Then if that vote passed, then the smart contract would automatically send
Yep.
10% to the committee's Gnosis wallet or whatever.
Absolutely. This is
Cool.
how it's done in Web3. Look at all the big Uniswap, ENS, all the big DAOs, all the big projects, how they do
Yeah.
it. They have massive, Uniswap has, I don't know, 900, I don't know, masses of money. Yeah. $2 billion sitting in a wallet that is owned by the Uniswap token holders. And there's a system in place. There's one single smart contract that holds and secures all these tokens. And whenever the community makes a vote and decides that something should happen with those tokens, the smart contract pays it out. This is what we need. This is what we're going to build. And yeah, that's the earlier, like I said, definitely should try to get it tested on Shimmer AVM. And once it's tested, audited, approved, everything makes sense, it should be then ready for IOTA mainnet. And once Stardust goes live there and smart contracts go live there, then this 50 Ti will be held by such a system. Yeah, that's
Awesome.
that's the
Exciting.
cool thing. Yeah. Alrighty, yeah, let's set this is an outlook of things to come. A lot of, like I said, very interesting technical stuff happening there. We're going to get more technical, more smart contract stuff, more brain power needed, because the cool thing is we have done the hard lifting of defining our governance processes. Yeah. So basically, all the rules and everything how we want things to work is kind of set. Now implementing this into different technologies, into different technological solutions, is a different thing, but it doesn't need to touch again into the, oh god, how do we propose and how many weeks, and because basically I would say we have this in place. Yeah, and I would try first to not touch it in a while, besides from minor adjustments that we see are needed, but generally the stuff is defined, and now we need to look into extending the technical possibilities, make it more decentralized, give the community complete control over their assets and all this stuff. This is going to happen. Yep. Okay, my friends. If nobody has, well, does anybody have any questions around on JD or what we've been talking to? Always happy if you speak up. Nope. Doesn't look like. Then I'll say we'll see you again on Thursday. JD, do you anyway plan public meetings from the grant
Yeah,
committee? Yeah.
yeah. No, I wanted to kind of just get going a little bit
Yes.
and see kind of where it plays out. I didn't know if, is it YouTube? Should it be YouTube? Should it be Discord? I'm going to do another meeting tomorrow that's recorded. I want to just finish the kickoff and cover all the
Yes.
check boxes, and then I want to discuss with the committee what they think could be the best venue. I have to say, I do like Discord, but I will just discuss with them on maybe like YouTube. I do think public meetings was good. What I think would be better for us compared to, like, let's say this meeting, is maybe doing a stage, because I don't want to get into excessive discussion with the community at that time, because
No.
we're all on the payroll, and
Yes.
I don't want the reviewers to chop up their 10 hours by having discussions. Then I was thinking maybe I can set a day. I mean, maybe just keep it to this meeting, or if it becomes more interaction with the community, I can just do maybe a Wednesday and just open it up to the community to have those discussions. And of course, anyone in the community can always DM me, direct message me, and I'm happy to jump on a call if anyone has any discussions to have. And of course, I'll always be looking at the Treasury Discord channel here. So yeah, I'm working that way.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
mean, anyway, I think that the plan was always to have these things to introduce what has been funded. And so basically,
Right.
I wouldn't do anything of these real public meetings before you don't have a couple of proposals that are funded that you could then in this meeting just easily go through, introduce to the community, give a little bit of reasoning behind. Also, I mean, not all grant committee needs to be always present. I mean, it would be
Right.
enough
Right.
if you do this. And maybe somebody is there for answering questions, and just having basically a public stage, like you said, to say, okay, the last 4 weeks we have funded 11, we paid out 11 grants. These are the projects. These are the reasons why we believe this has been worth funding. This is cool stuff that's going to happen. That's cool. I think that's really also then very informative for the community. And like you said, you don't want to get into lengthy discussions and why and how and what. Yeah, that's not. I mean, this is the
Right.
job of the committee to have a proper evaluation of that. And once decisions are made, anyway, they have been done. This is more than to inform the community what has happened. Oh,
Right. Right.
cool.
So yeah.
Amazing, my friends. Until then, I would say see you again next Thursday, same time, 4 p.m. CEST. Thanks everyone for participating. Thanks everyone for listening and also asking some questions. And see you again next week. Yeah. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.